Good morning. This is Cindy Moss, and I'm going to give you a quick overview of this week's chapters that you're going to be looking at. We're going to look at chapter 11, which is talking about your health, disability, and long-term care insurance. And then chapter 12 is basically talking about the different types of life insurance that you would consider needing. In chapter 11, you need to be looking at why the cost of health insurance is so much, and where you need to go to get health insurance, different options like that. If you are under 26, then my suggestion to you is that you stay on your parents' health insurance just as long as you can, because under their health insurance, they would have them covered and then they would have dependent coverage. And generally, the dependent coverage, if you've got a spouse, and whether it's one dependent or whether you have five, it's just one price. Whereas if you go out and try to buy your own insurance, you're going to be in for a shock looking at how much it costs. I do know that a friend of mine has some health issues, and so her insurance policy this year went up from $700 a month over $1,400 a month starting in January. Needless to say, she's looking at some of the other options she has versus buying it individually. Hopefully, when you do turn 26 and you start looking for your own health insurance, you will have a company that offers you the flexibility to buy health insurance through them. Because of such a great number of people, it is done usually as a group plan, and it is much cheaper. One thing that you want to know is that health insurance has gone up faster than the rate of inflation. Some of the costs are due to the cost of equipment. The high rise in people, the older generation, where we're paying their health care for long term and different things like that. So, but you do have to have health insurance. I know a lot of us think, oh, well, I can get by. I don't ever go to the doctor, but you never know when something's going to happen, and that you do have to make sure. Another thing that you want to look at is talking about health insurances along with your disability income. Disability income insurance protect you during the time that you're maybe short term or long term, and then helps you generally at 60% of your salary. Some companies have 80%. I know generally most young people don't think about taking a long term or short term disability insurance, but I do know last weekend my nephew, who was only 24, was injured in a wreck, and he has a serious brain injury, and they've said that the minimum he can go back to work would be the first of the year. He also has to go down to the Spinal Shepherd Center to their concussion unit for some time. Um, if he had had short-term or long-term disability, he would be receiving at least some type of pay right now, but he had not taken either of those, thinking, I'm young and I won't ever need those. Um, the blessing in this is that he is still on his parents' health insurance. So my brother-in-law's health insurance is taking care of the medical end. It's just that he has no salary to pay his apartment and his car payment and things like that. So I know it's an extra cost, but if you look at it, and you can actually afford to take at least a short-term disability, please think about doing that. Another thing is that you want to look under what kind of benefits your health insurance is covering. Generally, they cover surgical, doctor visits. They have a hospital care, different things like that. Make sure you review your policy and know what it does cover and what it does not. There are three basic types of insurance that you want to look at. First of all, you have the HMO. HMO kind of limits you on the doctor that you would go to. I do not have a HMO. I went to HMO 1 year because the price was so much cheaper. But then when I started looking around and I had to drive to Marietta to see one of the HMO doctors, I felt like it wasn't worth it for me because I had no control on which doctors I saw. You will have a PPO, which is called a preferred provider. Most doctors will take this insurance. It's a little bit more expensive. So you have to determine if the difference is worth knowing that you're going to go to your doctor and not have to just go see a company doctor or who they have determined you will go see. And the next one is a point of service. It's called POS, and that is where they determine their regular doctors within their service that you have to go see. So those are the three health insurance that you would be looking at. Another thing is the government has two types of insurance policies. You have Medicaid and Medicare. Medicaid is generally for low income qualified participants. Most doctors, they don't like to take Medicaid because what they do is they take whatever their cost is and they cut it in about an eighth. And so out of a $50 doctor visit, they may pay $5. So doctors are real reluctant to take Medicaid. The other one is the Medicare. After you turn 65, then you are covered under Medicare. And if you've watched any TV in the last month, everybody's talking about open enrollment for Medicare, and there's different versions. I don't think any of y'all are ready for Medicare. If your parents are, help them to kind of wade through all this and know which of the policies would be best for them. And then Chapter 12 is talking about life insurance. And again, I know most of you are thinking here saying, I don't need life insurance. I'm just 26 years old. Life insurance is not for you. It is for your family. If you are married, you definitely need life insurance. The book will go into depth a lot, different what methods that you need. The DINK is the non-working spouse, and it makes you look at how much income they would need to live if you were no longer with them and able to provide for them. There are two types of life insurance companies. They're owned by stockholders and mutual companies, and basically they make their money by selling life insurance. Life insurance is a gamble. If you're here and you think I'm in great condition, I don't need life insurance, you have to determine again, how am I going to provide for my family if something doesn't happen? I had a person tell me at one time that, and I love this saying, and it sticks with you. The only heartbeat you've ever been promised was the one you just took. So you're not promised that next heartbeat. Can your family survive in the manner in which they become accustomed if you're there, if you're not there?